What is up guys, Taiki here. Today I'd like to go over two strategies that you can deploy on the Avalanche ecosystem. A humble strategy and a more Degen strategy. So if you like the content, please like and subscribe and leave a comment in the comment section below. And none of this is financial advice. Okay, so obviously Avalanche has only been putting in green candles. We covered this around August 10th, right, when BenQi was announced, right, the money market. And I said, hey, humble farmer thesis, when a money market launches, you generally want to be in that ecosystem. And ever since that day, in the past 2 weeks, it's went from $16 to $54, right? So almost a 4x, which is pretty wild. Obviously, like whether you already have capital in Avalanche or you're looking to deploy capital into Avalanche, the question is always, do I ape, right? Do I just go on full risk on mode, right? Feel the FOMO, because I'm sure lots of people feel the FOMO. Or like, what's a more safer strategy that you can deploy, right? Obviously I'll present the two scenarios, and depending on your risk tolerance and depending on, whatever like portfolio that you have, maybe you can use this as a data point to better formulate your strategy. So I guess two news points that I do want to touch on is first, the fees did get lower on Avalanche. So previously, I believe a couple of days ago, the gas was fixed at $225, right? So transactions could have cost like roughly $3 to $5, but now there's a range, right? $75 to $225. So if the network is not as congested, then transaction fees will be cheaper. So that's something could be bullish if you don't have that big of a bag that you want to allocate on Avalanche. Also, as part of the Avalanche Rush program, right? So out of the 180, 3 million went to BenQi. 20 million went to Aave, and 7 million goes to Curve. Now, for Aave and Curve, we don't know when those dates will be announced. I heard it was going to be end of month, but now I heard the team say that there's no launch date planned. So could be early September, could be mid-September, who knows? But I would imagine that it would be within a couple of weeks, right? So $15 million is going to be allocated to Sushiswap, right? So $7.5 million of AVAX will be allocated, and 7.5 million of AVAX will be calculated, right? So 15 million totals, but only 7.5 million. So if you add up all the liquidity mining programs from Aave, Curve, BenQi, and Sushi, that's roughly 37.5 million out of 180, right? So there's still a lot of liquidity mining programs that's going to be online. I can't predict the future, but it's most likely going to be spread between native projects on Avalanche and more like the DeFi blue chips on Avalanche, right? Because Avalanche is trying to build out their ecosystem, and to do that, they kind of need to bring over, I guess, like the more legitimate projects on Ethereum, right? Because that's what people trust the most. Okay, so in terms of let's go over the tweet that I put out on August 10th, where the humble farmer thesis. So what exactly is the humble farmer thesis? Well, the simplest way to explain it is that, my thesis that I came up with over a month ago is that for an ecosystem to thrive, it essentially needs two things: an AMM with a good liquidity in the form, and a trusted, reliable money market. Because a trusted and reliable money market creates more sticky liquidity that boosts the TVL of the entire ecosystem. Then whales and institutions can better manage their capital. So for example, I bridged over some Bitcoin and ETH and Link from other sources, and I'm just trying to use them as collateral and borrow dollars against it. And because of the liquidity mining programs, we're actually being paid to borrow. So borrow APY is at 9%, meaning that you're paying 9% to borrow, but you're also earning 30% in the form of key and AVAX tokens. I know what you guys are looking at. The limit is really low here. Don't worry, I'm gonna pay some of this off. I've just been taking on some more risk recently, but I'm gonna pay this off. So don't worry. Always keep this safe. Never put yourself in a position to be liquidated. With BenQi, it's kind of hard to, I guess, manage liquidation levels just because the UI and UX is so new. So when Aave launches, I'll be essentially porting most, if not all, assets to Aave. But in the meantime, BenQi is killing it, right? And humble farmer thesis, it turned out right? Don't fade the humble farmer thesis. If there's any alpha that you should remember from this video, do not fade money markets. Because hold up, if you click on Avalanche TVL, it's at literally BenQi launched August 19th, and bam, right? Went from 200 million in July to almost 2 billion. Actually, I think DeFi Llama is a little outdated. It's actually like 2.2 billion. This is marker.io, but so much money flowing into the ecosystem. So what do you do, right? Because if you look at the Avalanche ecosystem coins, everything is just up so much, and it does not feel good to buy like other people's multiples. For example, Joe is a coin that I do not own. I should have owned it, but it's $1.11. 2 weeks ago, this thing was, God, this hurts my eyes, 2 to 3 cents, and now it's $1.11. Obviously, there's good merits of owning this token. I personally don't want to chase this just because I just don't feel comfortable buying other people's 30 to 40x's, right? So I'm sure a lot of people feel that way, right? Like most of these coins have gone up so much. So for those that are a little bit more on the conservative side, let's just go over a more humble strategy. Now, this is something I went over in my live stream yesterday, but because I feel like a lot of people don't have time, I just wanted to make a more condensed version. So, Humble Angel, right? The Humble Angel is saying, hey, the easy money has already been made, everything is parabolic, taking profits is part of the humble farmer strategy, right? So, assuming that you already have funds deployed, maybe this is the point where you slowly take profits, or you look to take profits, right? Or if you don't even have capital, just go into the more safer plays, right? The larger market cap projects. And let's see, yeah, and AVAX it's like all over social media now, so it's easy to feel the FOMO, but I think the safest play is to focus stacking AVAX, right? Because if you look at other ecosystems, such as Binance Smart Chain, right, what happened? Well, BNB, the gas token, went up. Polygon, what happened? The Matic token went up. Terra, Luna went up, right? So AVAX is a top 20 token, right? It's a gas token. And if you want to bet on the success of the Avalanche ecosystem, you want to bet on Avalanche, right? It'll give you less upside than the other illiquid, lower market cap coins, but it'll cap your downside and you can expect a trend up over time. Well, if you do want to take on more risk, right? I mentioned Pangolin in my live stream, because also if you look at Polygon, which is I think the easiest comparable thing to compare to the Avalanche ecosystem, I think we saw that with Polygon, QuickSwap went from $200 to $1,400, and I just want to go over generally when an ecosystem does well, the number one decentralized exchange does well also. So I took this photo on Sunday, but I think the price is relatively the same. It's like around $350. But the more important thing to focus on is the market cap of Pangolin, right? Like, don't focus on the price, right? Price is irrelevant. What's more relevant is the market cap, right? Because you don't want to be this guy, right? Like, I'm sure there's a bunch of these people on Telegram, on my YouTube comments, right? The reason you subscribe to my channel is so that you don't subscribe to these everything is in the moon thesis, right? Because if you think everything is in the moon, then when do you ever sell, right? And if you're never selling unless you have 100x, then that's not being humble at all, right? You're just gonna hold things to zero, and maybe not to zero, but hold things down 80% because it didn't hit your profit targets or whatever, right? So let's first get that out of the way. PNG is not the next PancakeSwap, but it is the second largest market cap coin, the native coin on Avalanche, and you can expect it to do well. But how well, right? So this isn't perfect. I'm only using one data point from Polygon, but let's look at how QuickSwap performed when Matic went on that insane bubble from 10 cents to $2.70. Because QuickSwap was the number one decentralized exchange on Polygon. It still is. And as you can see, it went on an insane bubble. You can see the insane bubble here, right? So this was roughly $1,400. But if you look at the market cap, it kind of paints a different picture, right? It roughly peaked at roughly 250, right? Let's just round it up, $250 million. And one thing that people should consider is that the market cap of QuickSwap right now is higher than it was at the actual peak, even though the price was not even close to that level, right? I think QuickSwap is roughly $600 to $700 right now. And this is because, this is a farm token, right? It has relatively high inflation, meaning that even if the token price goes down, more tokens are being emitted, more tokens are entering supply, so the market will be higher, right? So this is why I always say never marry a farm token, just because all farm tokens have some level of inflation that's really difficult to outperform in the medium to long term. In the short term, it obviously can, right? If people are buying everything, then it's going to go up. But obviously, something to keep in mind. So let's focus on the $250 million market cap piece. Okay. So if the quick bubble popped at $250 million market cap and PNG's market cap is currently at 150, it might be higher whenever you're watching this video, maybe the humble strategy to say, okay, I can expect it to do something similar, so let's exit it as it approaches $200 to $300 million in market cap, right? And let the apes take the risk above that, right? Just take the humble gains and just let the apes control like whatever the target is like after, right? And maybe take profits into stables or take profits into AVAX. But you might be saying, wait, like Polygon's liquidity mining program was $100 million, but Avalanche's is $180 million. So, I mean, obviously there's no precedent on how this translates, right? But maybe I can say maybe Pangolin deserves an 80% premium, right? Because there's more money that Avalanche is allocating to its own ecosystem. Well, in that case, maybe a less humble but still humble strategy is to start running for the exits as it approaches $400 to $500 million in market cap and let the apes take the risk above that, right? So the humble strategy is to focus on AVAX, right, the gas token, because it's the least volatile, and maybe you can spread out your risk to PNG because, you know, we can see from QuickSwap that, you know, the number one exchange token just tends to do well when this ecosystem like just has critical mass liquidity. Okay, but what about the more Degen strategy, right? And it's always a difficult predicament because I preach the humble farmer thesis, I guess like the humble farmer strategy, and when it comes to more aggressive and Degen strategies, I feel like I don't tend to do as well, right? I feel like I was so early into Avalanche, but I didn't really play it the way I wanted to. I feel like I should have spread out my bags a little more than like to focus on Avalanche, but it is what it is. Like for example, I showed you earlier like Joe, right? Like, how could I miss on that? So let's see. And the more Degen thesis is that, hey, like Aave curve isn't even live yet. There's still $177 million of AVAX that throw around. AVAX is still under a $10 million market cap, and just ape it, right? Because this thesis says that there's so much money that's yet to enter the ecosystem, and there's a limited amount of tokens to buy, right? That's like Avalanche themed, right? And I can get behind this thesis, and you know, it makes sense, right? Like if there's right now there's $2 billion of liquidity on Avalanche. With the liquidity mining programs, maybe you can hit like roughly $12 billion, right? That's what Polygon did. Or maybe you can overshoot that to 20 billion in TVL if, you know, people just bridge more money onto the Avalanche ecosystem. But in that, if let's say the TVL gets to like 10 billion, then you can expect like a rising tide that lifts all boats, right? Obviously, this is more risky because you're buying farm tokens, right? Because I'm referring to, you know, this Degen strategy that refers to like buying these farm tokens with lower market cap. And I'm not going to comment on like the fundamentals of these things, but, you know, they are farm tokens and, you know, there are going to be more projects being launched. But, you know, if this bubble keeps going, you can expect these things to go up as well, right? Because let's call it what it is. Like, this is a bubble, right? What's happening on Avalanche is a bubble. How early are we? Are we in the second inning? Are we in the fourth inning? I simply do not know, right? But similarly, anyone that participated in the Matic bubble knew that, like, on the way up right here, like everyone knew this was a bubble, right? But it was like, who's selling first? Who's selling first? And I think that's kind of like the game that's being played right now. It's like, are you selling first? Who's selling first? And it's more, it's obviously higher risk, but it is a strategy that exists, right? And you don't always have to be like 100% Degen or 100% humble. You can be a mixture of both. Maybe what you can do is like, maybe you can say, okay, 75% of my portfolio, I'll be focused on the safer coins, but with the 25%, I'll just like to have fun, right? Obviously not financial advice, but, you know, I'm just presenting different ideas. Okay, and, you know, Polygon market cap peaked at roughly $15 billion. Avalanche, I think it's at like $8 or $9 billion now, but, you know, if everything 2x, if Avalanche 2x's, then what's going to happen to the entire ecosystem, right? It's probably going to be bullish. And I guess the only risk is that, you know, if Bitcoin dumps, it doesn't matter how bullish the ecosystem is, it's just going to dump, right? Everything is going to dump just because that's how the market is, right? Bitcoin is king, don't fade the king. Okay. And I guess the one thing I don't understand is that, like, how did Avalanche hit $60 earlier in 2021, right? There was like nothing built on it and it hit $60. in February, and the blow off top was like a 71% candle. Like that's insane. So like I've been saying since like early August, mid August, I do think it's gonna hit all-time highs, like for sure. I don't know how long it's or how much higher it's gonna go, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna hit all-time highs. I mean, that's more of a conservative thing to say right now at $54, but I've been saying that below $20, right? I mean, I said Avalanche is gonna hit all-time highs, and I did not expect it to go this fast, but it is what it is. So obviously I try to be more conservative, more humble, because I don't want people to get wrecked. But there was a live stream today that I think people should check out if you're interested in the more aggressive strategy. We had a CryptoMessiah. He has this thing called Shitcoin Church. I'll provide a link to this in the description. But I introduced this guy to Avalanche a couple weeks ago. He had a bunch of heavy Ethereum-based DeFi bags, and I'm like, hey, Messi, like, just check out Avalanche, right? I mean, I think this is gonna be good for you, right? And after a week, here he is doing a live stream with a banana costume. Yeah, so he's definitely in the euphoric camp, and this was a pretty good live stream. I listened to all of it, and he just goes over all of the ecosystem plays. Like if you want to take on more risk, this is something that you can do. And I'm looking to have him on on the live stream on Sunday, and do more like a live panel of Humble Angel versus Degen Angel, right? Messi obviously being the Degen Angel with his banana costume, and me, I'll take the stance of a more humble angel. And we can, I guess, argue and converse about, like, where are we in the cycle? Like, should you take on risk, etc. I think it'll be a good one. It's never been, like, I've never done, like, a live stream with another person before, so hopefully I don't have any technical difficulties. But I think it'll be a fun one. So, thank you guys for watching. This has been a longer video, but I just wanted to make this video because I know that a lot of people are feeling the FOMO, right? Like, 'cause how can you not? Like, I'm still like exposed to AVAX, but I mean, I'm still like, damn, like, I should have like sold my Chainlink, I should have sold my ETH, I should have sold my Bitcoin and bought like AVAX with it. Obviously, hindsight is 2020, and like I'm totally okay with having a more humble, conservative approach to the markets. But you're gonna have days where you're gonna underperform like the pure apes, right? But that's fine. Like, we're in it for the long game. In crypto, you don't need to 10x every single week. If you can take humble gains, stack those yields on a weekly basis, then we're gonna make it, right? Because if your bias is that Bitcoin and ETH will trend up over time, and you're earning yield on Bitcoin and ETH, then you really can't lose. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys are doing, because I've kind of been disconnected from the farming environment, just because like I haven't been farming on Avalanche, partly because of the higher fees, and partly because I've had some things in my personal life that I have to take care of. I do own some of the tokens, right, just for higher beta plays, but I mean, it's like AVAX is by far my largest bag, just because that's how I construct my portfolio. So if you like the content, please like and subscribe. Let me know what your thoughts are. And yeah, I guess I want to hear some success stories, because Humble Farmer Army has been pretty strong in the past couple of months. We were there for Luna, and now we're here for Avalanche. I don't know what the next ecosystem play will be. Maybe it's Cardano, maybe it's Phantom, maybe it's maybe it's like we go back to Solana or something, right? So who knows? Let me know what you guys are looking at. Yeah, thank you for watching. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and yeah, consider both the conservative and the Degen approach, and figure out what works best for you.